Cut your head off. Eat you
Right
up.
on. Well, let's see. What do the gentlemen over on that corner think of our Preds here? Any friendship enthusiasts?
Well, it is.
Not you, Cuss, I know that.
Oh my!
Whoa!
She's back.
Letting
It's
go.
good to have you, Say. I'm really glad you're
Get
back.
down, Scott. Get down. Take cover.
How'd Blood getting beat down every single time Zoe's in the studio? Like, what is happening?
I hold grudges.
I'm just not going to speak anymore.
I was gonna say, it is someone's birthday today. It is Sky Ripper's birthday today.
I thought it's Cuss's
No,
birthday.
Scott,
For a second, I got really mad.
You would have felt so bad.
Terrible.
Also, happy
it's not
birthday, of course.
Sky Ripper's birthday today. He's playing against his old team too, so you know, birthday
Revenge
power and the
attempt.
power of friendship.
Yeah, I don't think that really helps against the raw power that Jake has been trying to sell us on for so long. Honestly, I have to agree with the desk. The Vancouver Titans look to be the
They
stronger
look
team.
so good. Yeah, they do. They just 3-0 Boston Uprising as well, which we talked about in the last match. Like, the team just looks like a well-oiled machine right now. And what we saw in that Boston versus Vancouver game the other day was one of the greatest Widow duels I think we've seen in maybe forever in the history of the Overwatch League. That's maybe a stretch.
It's a bit cool that you're saying there.
It is. But Aspire and Birdring playing a Widowmaker that is just explosive. Normally you see one Widow just go off and you're like, wow, that's sick. Like, oh my, they are hitting nut shots. But that was Aspire too. Both of them were just hitting it out of the park. It really felt like a 4-on-4 and then a 1-on-1 with Birdring and Aspire just going off. If Aspire can hit that same peak, that same level of energy coming in, this might be kind of a roll, but it's whether you can kind of recreate that. Although, looking at the map pool too, a couple of these maps not really to do with Widow. I mean, maybe you can play Widow here, but it's a big old stretch. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. And Vancouver Titans also looking at mid-season, Scott. If they do win here, having a 3-2 scoreline, not too shabby getting into mid-season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Titans would be happy with getting a 3-2 at this point, just giving themselves an opportunity to get into that mid-season madness tournament, while London Spitfire fighting not just to stay in the mid-season madness, but trying to keep their sort of season going, because if you start 1-4, it's a difficult hole to climb out of. And, you know, exactly as Johnny and Jake were sort of talking about, the power of friendship was a strong factor for them last year, but also the meta was going in their favor. And potentially, maybe we need to start looking at, is the playoff performance from London Spitfire last year the anomaly? Opposite of the rule. Wait, what happened in chat?
Can we reset?
Wait, I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
Why? All right, okay. I think Hattie do be trolling a little bit. I think he was trolling to try and force Vancouver Titans.
Mental warfare at a new level.
What? Well, Apple dies anyway. I've got to say that is the sneakiest mind games of all time. I think Sugarfree might just clear here, though. The teleport onto the point, pretty smart. Titans look a little bit confused as, well, the Spitfire were just looking to TP double onto the point. One out of spawn, one to there. And they do end up capping first. And bunker style versus this poke. Scott with Sugarfree on the Echo and Faith on.
Sugarfree's doing so much damage, it's just not enough to take anyone down.
TP, bro.
Yeah, the TP on side to side, just going back and forth, making sure you stay alive, and they're getting percentage points up, Jack. They're at 32% and counting.
Don't die to Sugarfree challenge.
It's difficult.
Damage boost can do a lot. Sticky bombs can one-shot. Got to be careful.
Ultimate's coming up for both sides now. As you can already see Landon drop the amplification matrix.
Here comes
Forced
the nano,
to use
though.
the lamp.
Yeah, Punk nanoed in onto the point, trying to isolate, but no, Hardy actually isolates him. Punk charged all the way off the point as Hardy just be swinging. Punk didn't even earn Primal Rage there, so it's going to take a little bit of time to actually get back to the point. Hardy, however, has isolated himself as Punk puts himself on point. Very low HP, so actually has to back off. Blizzard now from Backbone. All the tools in the London Spitfire arsenal to try and stop Titans from getting onto this point. In fact, Titans using every ult too. They use the Valk, they use the Primal. Hardy does get slept, but a sound barrier from the Spitfire to keep them alive.
Johnny asking Hardy to do Hardy things, and Hardy took that personally. He pins off the nano-boosted Winston, completely invalidates that ultimate, and then when he's coming back, actually pins Aspire on the Ashe. I don't even know how he managed to do that, but coming in clutch, and he's holding onto that Earth Shatter,
Fast fight.
and they only need to win one more fight.
Yeah. 10% away. Landon goes down.
Oh,
Big
bad.
pick from Aspire. Also pretty low. Okay, here it is. All right, that's what you needed to pick onto Landon, stop him healing up the rest of the team. Hardy is not going to find a pin. Might just, in fact, throw himself off the map. Yeah, okay. Quick resets here. They've got 99%. You don't want to give extra ult charge over. And that'll be that. We'll see if they can actually get onto the point this time, though. Because that comp, very good at holding down the point. Getting onto the point versus this poke, rough.
Yeah, if you're the Vancouver Titans, you don't want to allow them to walk through this mega health pack room and teleport exactly like they did in the very first point. Because if you allow them to do that, then it's hard to fight for them on the point. We also have Sparker with this wall that they're sort of having a look at. You can see they
Nice
use
wall.
the teleport as a bait, then use the wall to get onto the point.
Aspire's low Scott too. Bob actually gets blocked by the wall. Both walls, in fact. Yeah, Backbone created one as well. Bob is just infinitely firing into it now and actually ends up going down. Shatter from Hardy lands on one. It is Punk, and he gets charged off the map. See you later. Crimzo actually gets the sleep dart kill onto Hardy, so a bit of free ult charge for him there, but London Spitfire do control. Very lacking in healing though, as Landon went down again, but a beautiful boot from Admiral kills Crimzo. A resurrection from Faith might be good to get one back in the fight, but it's only them two left. The London Spitfire playing their own game and playing it perfectly. 100-31 as they take round one.
That's the London Spitfire special right there, and Jake said he wants to see them lean into their strengths, play the Symmetra, enable Hardy to play the Reinhardt. That's what you expect from this team. This is really their bread and butter. The real question becomes, though, that's the only round on Ilios that you can really play Reinhardt. On Ruins and this upcoming well map, it's a lot harder to play the Reinhardt, a lot harder to teleport your team around and just anchor on the point. That's really been the pain point of the London Spitfire. When they've had to play other compositions, it just hasn't looked as clean.
Admiral kind of taking Titans to town there. Didn't even pay for the bus fare. Yeah, very tough. Now you can't play Sim. You cannot play, well, maybe you could play Mei, but what are you walling off? Realistically, not much.
Living in the past now, they're going over to the playoffs meta where they made it so deep, where they went down to Jake's Houston Outlaws. They were strong at this composition, but the question is this composition strong anymore?
Nice nade from Crimzo. You have to disrupt Crimzo in this comp. You cannot let him get free nades off, forcing the Suzu from Landon. You'd much rather use that Suzu. There it is.
Nade.
Boom. Huge nade again. You can't let him live for free. Oh, hello. Did he get back on? He did. He teleported back on. Backbone got booped into the well, but used that TP to get right back onto the point. But you can't let Crimzo sit here for free. There's no way. He is the best Western Ana player in the league. There is no shot. You can't just dive on him. You have to speed, Hardy, Admiral, everybody has to get it onto Crimzo to stop him getting free space.
And you can see Crimzo just waiting and trying to rotate around as soon as they apply any pressure in. And Hardy is just getting absolutely bullied every time he tries to go anywhere. And the London Spitfire are playing way too slow with this composition.
Good nade onto the back line. Didn't force Landon Suzu, or maybe it was on cooldown. Perfect stick. There's the Suzu. Okay, wasn't on cooldown. Very patient was Landon, making sure he saved that for a bigger ability. Stopping Spy's pulse bomb in its tracks, defusing that one fairly easily. Now the juggle begins.
Yeah, you can see Vancouver Titans just waiting for them to step up, drop the EMP and take down Sparker. There is a swap there of the point there for the London Spitfire, Jack.
Yeah, there is. Nano boost onto Punk. They need to find something. However, that B comes through just in time. Punk has to get out of there or earn himself a Primal Rage. Super low, no jump. There it is. Nano boost aiding with that ultimate charge. Landon TP'd away, but right into the grasp of Punk. Perfect stuff from the tank. And now the Spitfire need to just juggle it some more. They do have a Reaper on the field with a Death Blossom, so it's going to be hard for Titans to play into this one, despite Hardy having that Prime.
That flip was so important. Vancouver Titans, they tried to use their ultimates to win that team fight, but they weren't able to get it, and Punk just, without that Primal Rage, isn't able to stay alive. There is a response with Faith with the sound barrier, but Backbone?
Oh, Punk. No, Backbone gets one. Punk dove in, had no leap to get away. 45% of building for the London Spitfire. They're hunkering down on this point. Not the same style as the previous round, but it's working out wonders.
They're able to play a lot more passive now that they have control of the point in Vancouver Titans. The ball is in their court. Sugarfree is coming up to the EMP. Admiral, no sound barrier to match either. They're getting so much percentage up here, Jack.
Slowly but surely.
Great move.
Good move onto Hardy. So as the insurance policy, that prime, there it is. Spy looking for another pulse bomb. Hard to stick anybody though who's got on this comp, the London Spitfire running currently. So worth keeping that in mind. Looks like both backliners, or frontliners, sorry, from the Titans trying to set up for some sort of dive. Admiral's getting hunted down, so two-man EMP. Admiral does get focused down by Faith there, of all people, as Hardy also falls. A quick collapse onto London Spitfire's backline, as there was no beats for Admiral. And there goes the flip. Spitfire pretty happy with that, though, saving this beat in this situation. Actually worked out for the better. 98% on the board.
I was worried about that EMP. It felt like Admiral was just way too safe hiding in that room, but somehow Faith able to come through and clean that one up. But as you said, Jack, London Spitfire are the ones with the ultimate. Sparker has been such a firecracker here for the London Spitfire, and he has the overclock.
Oh, the getaway, the great escape for Sparker there using that slide, but Punk's got the primal. Double kill, nano primal, and Backbone throws himself down the well. That'll be another reset. Still, again, you are happy about this. If you're the London Spitfire, you still have double support ultimate with the overclock, and Titans have a whole heap of nothing.
And you can see Titans, they want to go early. They recognize the deficit that they're at with ultimates. You want to force them out early and then disengage because they don't have anything themselves.
Nade only hit Hardy there. Suzu instantly used by Landon to cleanse potentially an anti-nade on himself. Nothing more than that, though.
You can see the Vancouver Titans are trying to play defensive. They get Sparker. That's such a huge
No
pick.
overclock now available. Kitsune Rush on the point. Scott overtime coming in. Avril lays down the B, only hits 4. Backbone is lit up with the overhealth. Can he survive long enough, though, to get this Death Blossom? He does. Okay, manages to get out alive as the return beat from the Titans right into the waiting arms of Backbone, though, unleashes the Death Blossom, but it's just getting focused down. Both the DPS and the London Spitfire unable to find anything as Sugarfree's EMP is just too big. Finally, Sparker finds one head to click. It is Aspires, but now London Spitfire lacking Admiral's speed boost and even amp healing to get them through this fight. Luckily, picking off Crimzo might be more than enough they need to secure this round and map.
They need to hold on for Crimzo to get that healing back in the team fight and have that nano boost. Punk cannot fall here.
5% away from that nano boost is Crimzo right now. Overtime ticking so close to the victory of the London Spitfire. Punk manages to get back in time, and Crimzo finally with the nano boost. Punk makes his engage. The leap is good into the backline, but he's still struggling to find any value. Admiral and Landon just way too slippery. Primal Rage used.
Nice.
Finally, Landon's out of cooldowns to take down. Overtime is going to disappear just like that if they step off the point, however. They finally find the flippers. Hardy, Admiral, and Sparker go bright purple. Crimzo comes up clutch yet again to light them up with that anti-nade. And the Titans are going to take the next round.
Very clutch play by Titans, just such smart macro play. Willing to play defensive, willing to force the London Spitfire in and then set the trap. London just holding on to those ultimates a little bit too tight to their chest, unable to clean up the Titans, and we go to a round 3.
This is turning out to be a bit of a closer game than maybe the desk anticipated. Well, maybe not Johnny, said a 3-2, pretty close one. But again, we're going onto a map where London cannot play the bunker, but they look pretty good. I think their ultimate economy there was very smart. Not blowing too many ultimates in the fight. Normally, Hardy is enough with a primal or just a nano, sorry, not a nano boost, a rush from Landon just to secure them. And they're very smart to then save their beat, even saving Suzu's. Landon's playing this one very intelligently with his Suzu usage, knowing Crimzo has the nade ready and armed to throw towards him, and also Aspire waiting with a pulse bomb. But now we're seeing Hardy on the JQ.
Yeah, third round, a third composition here for the London Spitfire. They have to try and hunt Punk, and they do.
Yeah, this is the idea of this comp, right? You just want to run down Punk as soon as he uses the leap. And this is what London Spitfire did pretty well on as well. The JQ meta last year, everybody was like, well, it kind of plays like Rhine, right? It kind of plays like this rush style that Spitfire love to play. So playing into their wheelhouse with the Junker Queen is actually going to force Punk on a JQ of his own.
Yeah, some Winston players, great Winston teams, have been able to make the Winston work even against the Junker Queen, but Punk would rather just take this matchup. Punk's a great Junker Queen in his own right, happy to go 1v1.
Very different in terms of playstyle, though, with Landon having to save that Suzu for Hardy. If he gets antied, Hardy is a sitting duck. There's no armor on JQ here, so you're looking at a very squishy tank.
They're sort of at the mercy of Sugarfree on this Sombra as well. They need to find some hacks or just wait for this EMP to come through. The Kitsune rush from Landon should spell a retreat from the Titans, and Punk's already down.
Really like that early use of the rush there. Just get a quick wipe here, go for this reset. You have the sound barrier, you know the Titans are going to have a full fledge of ultimates, but if you can survive this EMP, you might be good enough to kite back. It's all on Abril in this fight. He has to play his amp speed as well, very defensively, if they know Faith and Crims are going to run at them support.
The last time Sugarfree had an EMP, he was looking for the Lucio. You can see everyone pinging this Lucio. Admiral is the target 100% here.
Oh, dodges it, instant sound barrier. Overhealth for the entire London Spitfire squad, and now it's up to them to survive. However, Aspire with the nano just, oh, the damage he's dishing out. Huddy is managing to stay alive, though, only with the aid of Landon and Admiral keeping him up. But there's too many ults from the Vancouver Titans. The sound barrier was good, but they did have to deal with a nano and a sound barrier of Titan's own after that EMP, and the Titans, well, they've got one big ultimate coming up. That rampage is going to be big. Now it's up to Landon. The back line in these compositions is so important. You cannot go down. You cannot waste cooldowns. Otherwise, the enemy team is just going to run over you.
Once again, the Titans are the ones playing aggressive, not letting London Spitfire get comfortable to use their 3 offensive ultimates that they have. Pulse Bomb goes a little wide. They needed that one.
That is surprising that missed that one. Sparker.
Huge nade!
And behind nade. Rampage from Punk, followed up with a nade from Crimzo. You are anti-naded for almost an indefinite amount of time.
Wow, that was such an important play for the Titans, and they used the Death Blossom and the Overclock for that one. Now it's only Hardy with the Rampage. There are no answers on the Vancouver Titans side, so Hardy could potentially just win this team fight with his one ultimate, but are the Titans going to allow him? Are they going to group up in a way in which Hardy's going to be able to hit multiple people with this one?
Start because Crimzo's been playing in the background. I mean, Aspire and Sugarfree, you don't imagine, are going to get hits. There's the rush, Carnage hit on Punk. Punk's already super low. There's the Rampage hits Punk, and now the focus begins from the London Spitfire. Perfect execution of the ultimate from Hardy. There's an EMP in the back pocket as Sugarfree unleashes it, and look at that, instant collapse from Aspire to take down Landon, and now Apple's in trouble. Aspire is forced to recall Scott, but it might not even matter. They lose Punk so early on in that fight, and now it's up to the DPS, the Spitfire, to try and some semblance here to win the round. They're going to choose to back up, but a clutch EMP from Sugarfree, even with their tank dead, they come up with a W.
I'm continually impressed by this Titans and how they understand how they need to win these team fights. At a 4v5 deficit, but with the EMP, recognize they're at 90%. We need to win this fight. Now, the Vancouver Titans ticking up to 80%. They have both support ultimates, and London Spitfire have nothing.
Super early.
Admiral down.
He insta-kills Admiral. No sound barrier right now for Spitfire. They have to reset Scott. They've got to go again. This is now the final fight.
You do not want to let Hardy reset. Chase him into spawn.
Hardy. They got him. One extra bullet there from Sugarfree. Tags Hardy, 95%. It is up right now to Backbone or Admiral to touch.
Yeah, where's Backbone? He's on the Sombra. I think he's lurking around.
He's on it.
He does get the touch, but that's in overtime. Backbone gets Suzu by Len.
Sound barrier too. Backbone, the main focus right now. The Vancouver Titans eventually goes down, but a sound barrier from Admiral's going to save them. A sleep from Crimzo across the map, though, ends up killing Admiral. Sugarfree comes up massive with a kill, and there's the EMP. Titans' understanding on how they need to win these fights, Scott, like you said, is absolutely perfect. The Titans had every tool they required to win that round and take map number 1.
Ooh, back and forth series though, even on these Winston compositions, going toe-to-toe, so much tank head-to-head swaps coming through. Vancouver Titans just playing that so smartly, but the London Spitfire, it looks like they've regrouped. They're playing a lot smarter, and they're playing to their strengths a lot more than we've seen from them so far this season.
This is gonna be a close one. Vancouver Titans and the London Spitfire at each other's throats throughout that whole thing. I've got to say, Sugarfree coming in to the league was a lot of people in North America's like contenders. It was their dream. They wanted to see Sugarfree succeed, right? Because of how hyped up this guy was. On the Sombra right now, he is looking clean with it. And again, matching well with his team and understanding when they can use the MP, when they can win fights. Normally when you have your tank down slot, you're thinking, well, we can't really win here, we don't have the front line, but Aspire and Sugarfree, their execution of a dive after the EMP onto people like Landon and Admiral, I mean, it's just too good. And then look at this.
Yeah.
This was directly after Punk hit a Rampage. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, you could see they were almost grouping up to get Suzu'd, and then that just walked into another trap from Crimzo.
Group up, we need to Suzu.
And unfortunately, just not enough as it goes incredibly back and forth. We're heading over to Blizzard World next. This is a map that a lot of teams like to play D.Va, Jack.
Yeah, we'll see if that is the case. London Spitfire, got a feeling. They're not going to play D.Va. They're probably going to play Winston or this Rhino JQ, one of those comps. I would have to imagine that Winston, you need control of the high ground on most of these points, especially first and second. We'll have to wait and see after this break. Don't go anywhere. This series, yeah, it's going to be close. close map number 1 with Vancouver Titans taking over the London Spitfire. A couple of substitutions coming in for London. We've got the birthday boy, Sugarfree, facing his old team, no less, as well as on the Vancouver Titans. And Lethal for DPS, so Backbone no longer in as we go to Blizzard World.
Landon fixing his camera, making sure he's front and center. Yeah, I respect that. While Hardy has decided that he doesn't like cameras anymore.
No, me no cameras.
I'm not a big fan, but I want to talk about Sugarfree from that last map. He went absolutely sicko mode. Got a stat card coming at you. He went 31 eliminations, 12 final blows, 0 deaths.
Yeah.
On the Sombra. I'm not a Sombra specialist, but that's pretty good, Jack.
That's pretty decent, especially when the game goes to 99 to 100 and you don't die. Yeah, 31-0 team. I literally couldn't do anymore. That's about it. I mean, Sugarfree Sombra hyped him up just before we went to the break there. Just the player as a whole, not even just his Sombra, extremely good. It's been showing up. He had an unbelievable Dragonblade kit the other week. I mean, this is what you want if you're a Titans fan, right? You want this star power DPS, and I think they have it this year. And having someone like Aspire alongside him, another player that it's wild to me that Aspire was on Toronto Defiant a couple of years ago and would sub in every now and then. He was on that temporary contract, and when he came in, he was cracked.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "You just got to sign this guy. He's just so good." And now he's made his home, starting on the roster alongside Sugarfree. It's the best year Titans had, I think, since the Runaway era.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sugarfree, we all know how mechanically strong he is as a player, but we've seen throughout the history of time, mechanically strong players doesn't always mean they're good at Sombra. Sombra is a thinking man's hero, and I think it can be difficult to really understand the nuances, but Sugarfree really showing he's comfortable on this hero, which is so important in a Sombra meta. And with the mid-season madness, we're going to be playing this style the whole way through. That's going to be important for the Vancouver Titans as we do head into a pause.
It's a real one. It's not Hardy trying to play mind games because, you know, they're not on control this time.
Just calling for a pause at the beginning of a round.
That was crazy. It was like, can we reset? And honestly, if you go back in the VOD and look at the Titans, the way they were positioned, I think they actually believed it. Because some of them kind of stopped moving and they're like, wait, is this real or not? And then they just bloody just TP onto the point. That was pretty sick.
Hey, you need a trick book, you know? Sometimes you gotta just like keep them on their toes. Who else was on their toes? You can see the admins probably in the back like, I don't think so.
What do we do? You have to say PP if you need to pause.
Yeah.
Nothing else will be taken. Nah, good stuff. Yeah, right. We're just jumping to quick pause from London's side, so probably just sorting out a couple of things, but we'll get into the game in just a moment. Did see Punk on the D.Va though.
Yeah, and this has been a pretty common staple here for a lot of teams, and Punk is a great D.Va. You would probably say D.Va is probably one of Punk's best heroes. He's an off-tank player in Overwatch 1. He has been given the role and expectation to be the solo tank of the Vancouver Titans. He's been doing a great job, but he's nowhere near as comfortable on Winston as a character like D.Va, so I feel like he's going to be right at home here on Blizzard World.
Yeah, we can quickly see what they're playing right now. And obviously you guys are on break screen at the moment, looking at their lovely faces. But yeah, Faith and Crimzo on Rig and Ana. Looks like they're quickly just changing a few things around. Scarif is just going to rejoin the lobby. So, I mean, let's throw up a stat card real quick for Crimzo, because Crimzo was also kind of pivotal in that match to win. I mean, his Ana, I said, best Western Ana player, hands down. His anti-nade, especially after a rampage like that, this is something you can't really play around if you're the Kiriko. It's like, oh, we're all rampaged, I need to Suzu. But there's a nade from the Ana. Like, it's a pretty rough time in that situation. I would say, you're looking at me like maybe Crimzo isn't the best West Ana player.
I feel like RuPaul would like a word with you, Jack.
Oh, RuPaul is so good too, though.
Our Pro-Am MVP, been on an absolute tear with the Florida Mayhem. And don't get me wrong, look at the numbers. Crimzo, I've been hyping him up for a while now. Especially his Ana is very, very strong.
It is.
He's just a consistent player. He did the same thing on the Boston Uprising. He never really lets you down, and he has some of those big moments. But, you know, as I said, RuPaul would like a word.
Yeah, RuPaul is pretty damn good too. Pretty damn good. Look at that. On Ilio, 32 deaths, 13 bardic grenade kills, a whole lot of healing. Pretty decent damage too. If you can get your damage near half of your healing output as Ana, it does always feel pretty good. We are almost ready. We're just getting back in. I believe Scarif is going to join once again. Looks like Hardy is ready, and he put in brackets real.
Ready, real.
So that's what London are going to have to preface this entire season now to make sure the admins know they're not trolling.
Dude, Hardy is a menace in the server, just throwing everybody through a loop.
I know, right? Trolling the admins live on Overwatch League YouTube channel.
I am really curious to see what the London Spitfire are going to play on this map, because they played on Ilios this sort of Winston, Reaper, Sojourn style on the dive. I can't expect that's going to work very well on this map. Junker Queen isn't going to work. There's no Winston being played. So potentially a different look here from the London Spitfire. And they played so many different compositions. Last map, they played 3 different rounds, 3 different compositions. They're spreading themselves very thin to make sure the players are on their comfort heroes.
I love the Widow jump shots to start. Little headshot, little jump, and a miss. No one's going to peek their little head out. 37% ult charge though. Yeah. That's actually more that. Thinking about it, it's a very like small micro, the micro of micro points. Jumping for a Widow shot like that does give you a little bit of charge, even if you don't kill anybody. So, you know, a free couple of percentage points now.
It's not like King's Row where like if someone makes a mistake, it's pretty hard to hit that shot on Widow coming out of that spawn. But London's going to play the Baptiste Brig setup, which is very defensive, has a lot of healing. But that makes you question, where is the offensive capabilities coming from this team? Are they just relying on Sparker to hit a shot on the Hanzo? Lethal's unlikely to be able to do anything on this Tracer alone. He's actually getting matched by Sugarfree right now.
Oh, slap the shield. We've all been there. Oh,
okay,
there's the
that
pick.
works.
Yeah, that's what you wanted. It looked like Crypto kind of wanted to drop, and you could see the kind of disappointment in his face there as he ended up going down first. Yeah, I mean, you're not surviving too long here. Good shot from Sparker. It was a body shot too. Crimzo took a little bit of extra damage from the rest of Spitfire. Are they going to let the Brig escape? Look at Faith's positioning on the high ground. Lethal knows he's here too.
Faith does get down and bashing
you got to
out.
chase. You got to chase. Oh, he's probably too far now. Rip.
Yeah. Oh, he is getting low though. You can see Lethal really wants this.
Nah, okay. Nice check there. Sugarfree just marking Lethal, making sure he can't just quickly follow up with a kill onto Faith.
And Hardy switching over to the D.Va. I like this change. Ramacha works on the first point. You go over to the D.Va on second, recognize it's not going to work as Aspire takes down Sparker, slowing everything down just that little bit more.
Sonic arrow kill is always the funniest one because normally you just shoot it into a wall. So when you do land a headshot, it feels pretty good.
That's when you know it was an accident from the Hanzo.
Right. Actual accident. All good though. All good. Quick respawn. Pulse bomb for Lethal. Nice anti. No cleanse, but they should be good. This is what you want to do. You want to force Aspire off the high ground. Oh, what a eat and what a bash. Wow. You can high-five each other after the game for that one. Good kill and denial of the pulse bomb on Lethal. Dude,
Aspire's got to feel so safe in life. He just went down to 25 health. He got instantly packed. Punk was instantly there, ate the pulse bomb, got a bash from Faith. Dude, Aspire's going to be feeling very safe right now.
Plumping up the pillows for when he goes to bed. Yeah. He's laying his pretty little head down. Yeah. Tough stuff. I mean, getting this high ground's very important, but even against a Brig, right? Use that movement ability, boom, whip shot. But even a bash can stop you from taking anywhere close to the high ground.
This is something that's been interesting in the West on this map, is a lot of people are playing this D.Va style, which doesn't really have as much offensive style. You don't have that Winston, so you're just kind of like poking around, hoping for the best.
God, there's a lot of ultimates being pressed right now. That rally, there was a window on the high ground too. The London Spitfire instantly pushed off. Again, Punk playing a little bit more defensive, has to get out of there. He's so close to dying. Nice heroes coming from Faith and Crimzo.
A lot of ult charges as well going back to Crimzo.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. All right, now the battle of the high ground. They finally managed to push Aspire off the tank. Dragon Strike through the tank, in fact. No hit markers at all. So, you know, Space Creator, that one.
You can see Landon on the point. He's got to be careful. He's getting caught in the open, and Punk sees it and dives alongside with Sugarfree, and Landon does go down.
Falls over. Sugarfree didn't even need to choose Pulse. This is a slow second point. There's been, what, like 3 kills?
Yeah, but it's just because no one really has any way to sort of force their ideas or their fight. Every time Lethal steps out, he's getting marked by Sugarfree, he's getting whipped by Faith, and they can't really dislodge the Titans from this high ground.
God, I love it when divas just kind of hug each other on the high ground, matrixing each other. They're just kind of chilling. Okay, there's the ping.
Opening.
There's the log. All right, 1 arrow found. Aspire dead and Lethal pushing the point. No, attempted stick onto Faith. Faith lives to tell another tale. Wow, fluff that one up. All good. Now it's all about the slow, steady push here from Spitfire. You still need that high ground,
Landon
though.
purple.
Nano, purple onto Landon. Lamb does come through just in time from Sky Ripper to save his brig, but look at the defense. It's in shambles. Sugarfree and Punk exhausting all of the defensive cooldowns from Spitfire there and stop the payload again.
Yeah, Titans.
Wow, they're chasing deep.
They just have no way of dealing with Crimzo. Crimzo is just permanently healing everyone who is playing aggressively. Spy's playing on this pipe, Punk's playing on the tank, and Crimzo's just playing for free in the backline, and the Spitfire don't really have an answer, and that's why if you've been watching the APAC matches, they've been playing a lot of Wrecking Ball, they've been playing a lot of Tracer Sombra.
So much destruction.
Because you can move around the map, you can apply pressure to the backline, because if you never do, it becomes so difficult to dislodge anyone, as they might need Sparker to once again come up with some magic and hit a log from across the map, but they've already used their immortality field, Jack, to save Sparker.
Yeah, I'm wondering how good Hardy and Punk's ball mechanics are. God, he is so free. It's crazy. Oh, Landon.
Through the wall.
Yeah, I mean, Sugarfree was kind of chasing him too. That was a really nice kill. I mean, we're almost Scott in final fight. Like, it's a minute to go, yes. You're thinking a couple... Oh, well, that false one went right. But you can't make a quick push. You don't have Lucio. You are waiting for Sparker to find an opening pick.
But that's so hard. It's like, it's almost rolling... It's almost like rolling the dice at this point. They just don't really have any options. And you can see Landon is the one who keeps trying to go to the point to just sort of give them progress, sort of force something to happen, but then he's the one who ends up getting isolated.
Yeah, he just gets hounded down by Sugarfree. All right, there's the window. It's on the rotating tank, so you're going to have to kind of rotate with it. And they're not going to really use it either. Sparker has to kind of step up to even get an angle on the back line of the Titans. Sonic Arrow reveals 3, 2 DPS and a tank there. There's Aspire now and maybe in a little bit of trouble, but it's been tough. It's been tough. We're in OT. Aspire finally dies, but they're going to trade Sky Ripper for it. A nice eat on a pulse bomb from Hardy. And you have to touch the point. Touches. Yep, they're available. Punk alive still.
Not for long.
And not for long, though. Self-destruct de-mechs him, and now he's looking for a remech. There's trades back and forth, but the spawn advantage way in favor of the Titans right now, as Faith has the rally, and Crimzo is going to come back in just a moment. He's going to sit on top of Faith. I mean, look at Aspire. He's playing melee mode with the Widow. Sugarfree cleans up, and that should just be it. 0.11 meters with a beautiful flick onto the Tracer. Just like that. The slow bleed out of the London Spitfire. And the Titans don't need to find picks. There's no agency for them at all because they're waiting for the London Spitfire to overstep.
Yeah, they're just... London Spitfire only got 5 final blows in that entire round. You know, that's 6.5 minutes. And it didn't even feel like they weren't doing anything. It just felt like they were unable to really force the Titans to be uncomfortable at any moment. And that's not just a London Spitfire issue. This second point in general is very difficult to assail. The backline of the defensive side can play so safely, and that's why you see a lot of dive compositions be played. That's why people don't play D.Va on attack, because it's just too hard to punish that style. How are the Titans going to come in with their own style, or are they going to run into the same issue? As we see Sugarfree, it's Lenny time, baby.
Really is. Boop! Through the shields. Something I always forget you can do, melee through a shield. We learned a Tracer recently, but it's definitely not even 0.1% as good as Sugarfree's. Nice little clean. And the problem is, especially this point in the map, I mean, I'm sure you've all been there, where you're sitting with maybe a meter to go to cap second, and the spawners on the defensive side can walk 2 steps to the left and then see the point. So you're like, well, there's a Widow, there's an Ana that can shoot. Like, it's so tough. You need a clean wipe in order to find something.
Oh, that's the closest one we've seen in a while.
Body shot, body shot. Even damage boosted too, wow.
Yeah, that's a commitment. Oh, Crimzo's and Faith Ana. Interesting. I actually really like this idea coming out from the Titans. They see the Ramatra.
He's a good 10 player too.
Yeah, and you know, when Sky Ripper and Landon are in, they're not going to be playing a fast composition. They're double flex supports. They're going to play this Baptiste Brig. this Zenyatta should be quite free, and
What?
Lethal just gets isolated. I don't know where he was standing, but Crimzo takes him out. All of a sudden, there's less pressure to ever be put on Crimzo. The Discord Orb just putting out so much damage, and that's a quick first point cap
Sono
here.
defense. Sono re. I'm surprised. All right. Okay. Things happened.
There's no way they go for this, right?
I mean, Lethal has to touch. Recall.
Oh, and Hardy's just potentially overstepped. He's got to be really careful.
Yeah, Discord melts him.
Exactly. Ramatra is very sustainable, but the Discord just applies so much extra damage to the tank. And Crimzo getting a little overconfident there.
All right, Lethal finally getting the wraparound that he so desired. Still though, 5 minutes and 10 seconds of the time, mate. It's Blizzard World though. We've seen crazier things.
Lethal needs to be the one who feasts on this Zenyatta. Ana Zenyatta is a strong backline, but it can be hard to keep the Zenyatta alive if the fight breaks down. So Lethal needs to make sure he's putting a lot of pressure onto these guys, not give them the space to just do exactly this.
Forcing the lamp with Skyripper already. Instantly healed up. Nano boost onto Punk through that window. Skyripper's not going to be able to make good use of it at all, almost. I mean, look at Punk just distracting the team. And he can sit here, Scott. He does have self-destruct, shooting Hardy in the back. He is pretty low himself, so a couple of heals wouldn't go amiss. There's one kill, finally. This time on London Spitfire's side, as a Spire goes down, and Lethal putting on that pressure, Scott, did force Crimzo to use Transcendence.
And you saw what happened where it felt like Punk was dove, and he was alone. Like, no one was there to follow him up. That's because of the aggressive start from London. Everyone had to peel back to help their backline. And when you're playing Ana Zenyatta, they don't help themselves very well. They have a lot of offensive capability, but not a lot of sustainability. And there, that prompts a swap from Crimzo over to the Kiriko.
It's nice having the Zen, but as the Zen in this situation, when you are pushing that payload, you're peeking the corners.
Yeah.
You are looking for an angle to get right clicks, to get discords, then you're peeking into Sparker, then you're peeking into even the Tracer, right? So it does make a whole lot of sense. A lot of additional healing too, which is always quite nice.
Yeah, and you got to keep an eye on Crimzo. He's going to keep doing this. He's going to keep making himself a threat on the other side, but Landon's already there playing that Kiriko, and Landon's been a very strong Kiriko since this hero's come out.
Nice anti-nade onto Hardy. He did prompt a response in the lamp from Skyripper. If you thought this game was going to be action-packed or this map, I'm afraid you're mistaken.
A lot of brawls, mini brawls happening all over the place.
Rush. All right, here we go. Go button pressed. Oh, pulse bomb from Sugarfree landed onto Hardy, but he just kind of absorbed it. All good, like a sponge in water. He's got Annihilation on board, and with 3 minutes to go, they've already burned 2 minutes off the bank and looking exactly the same as last round. Here's the Nano Boost, goes on to Punk again, who's once more kind of harassing the backline, trying to get in, trying to make himself known, but this damage boost onto D.Va, while it's great...
Oh, how?
Okay. Well, Hardy dead. Self-destruct. He looks way too far away, but maybe he was super low there. And now Punk can actually get onto high ground. Well, maybe the self-destruct was useful after all, not just for a remake.
Yeah, no, somehow Hardy gets caught by that one. Fortunately, didn't have to use the Annihilation, is still holding on, but Vancouver Titans are running into the exact same issue that the London Spitfire had. They just can't get any space to work with. When that Punk went aggressive with the Nano Boost, where is Sugarfree? The Punk Sugarfree dive needs to be more in sync to be able to take down this backline of the Spitfire.
3 ults for London right now. That pulse bomb. Oh, wait, he just punched Punk out of Meg. Okay, drew his bow a little bit too far there, was slowed down, ended up dying to the Dragon Strike. London Spitfire now in a 4v5, but still defensive fave at this point in the map. Hardy goes bright purple, but Annihilation as Sugarfree tries to step up and find the execution kill. Not too much damage, in fact, just kind of waiting, biding his time, waiting for Spitfire to regroup, but instantly out of spawn, Lethal dies, and with London still in a perpetual 4v5, they need to find kills or at least sustain long enough for Lethal to come back. It looks like it could be able to do that successfully as Titans again. Pulse bomb going wide for Sugarfree. Bit cold on this point in the map, Scott. Not finding those pulse bomb values like he did before.
You can see Hardy's health bar going up and down like a tandem right now because of just how much healing Baptiste and Kiriko do. Titans just have no way of getting through the health pool of Hardy, and he's just permanently anchoring there. Titans have the positioning, but with only 1 minute to go, this might be their last good team fight they'll get.
They need an arrow from Aspire to connect with Subron's forehead. All right, there's the Nano on Punk for the 4th time in a row, and they actually take down Hardy. Way too late with Sky Ripper and Landon with the heals, and that's going to be it. The Vancouver Titans, I mean, in the blink of an eye, pretty much, they annihilate Hardy, and they take the map. Match point for the Titans, 2-0 in the series.
Great play by Punk, getting the Nano boost. That is the advantage of the Ana over the Baptiste. That enables Punk to just go aggressively. He forces the backline out. They go to protect themselves. They use their immortalities. Then he goes back for Hardy. Takes down Hardy. Then he goes back for seconds on the backline. Just great play by Punk on that Diva. Just opening the door for them to close out this Blizzard world. Such a hard point to assail. And as you said, Jack, up 2-0.
Oh, that was so nice. Look at that. Teamwork with a capital T. London Spitfire down 2 maps. It's been a fairly close series throughout, though. I mean, you got to think with the Titans coming off a heater of a game. Oh, this shot was nice. Nice stuff. Nothing better than headshotting a Tracer, that's for sure. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. The Vancouver Titans, well, they're up 2 maps now. We're going to Junkertown. Maybe a little Winston here from Hardy will turn the series around. They're going to need to go to a map 5 to win it here, those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Junkertown is a very, very different map. There could be so many different looks, but I love how the Vancouver Titans have been adapting to everything the London Spitfire are doing. We'll see if they can do it again on Junkertown. Stick around.
This one around. They've lost their jungle queen already, and he finds Hisu again. Starts off big. 4-4. Oh, make that a 4.
no more lifeline. L&L yet it might not matter. Sugarfree, super early anti-air play.
Vancouver Titans looking to take another 3-0 after, well, some slow Overwatch on Blizzard World. Rather slow, methodical play from both teams. Well, they were just waiting for Hanzo to get picks. We do have some substitutions from London Spitfire as we've gone to Junkertown. It'll be Admiral coming in and Backbone returning. So, same roster as they start out with map number 1.
We're going to see some silly Reinhardt on Junkertown.
So. It's got to be right. Admiral in for Lucio, Backbone May.
Yeah. You would assume that they would be keeping Sky Ripper in on this map if they were planning on playing somewhat slower, maybe playing that double flex support. So maybe some differences coming in here for the London Spitfire, going back to their strengths, trying to sort of...
Maybe? I'm trying to think what DPS lineup.
It is a strange one. I think there's going to be something interesting coming our way, but you asked for the Aspire Widow, Jack. If we're ever going to see it, it's going to be on Junkertown.
Oh, please. Do not troll. Please, do not troll my team with a life leader. All good. Oh, Spider-Man Tracer. Damn, that sucks. I was really hoping he plays Widow on the defense here. Although, the problem with Widow is that you can close the gap pretty quickly if you are running the Lucio. And I would imagine Titans suspect that since Admiral's in, so makes a little bit more sense. Plus, easier to dive with if you're Sugarfree and you're Punk, right? So, makes sense, but I'm disappointed. I will say it.
Any more tricks in the bag? Crimso's trying to get a sneak peek.
We're honest men.
Can we restart? Oh my god, it is going to be Reinhardt on Junkertown. This is
Whoa.
This is a look we've seen very rarely throughout the history of all time in the Overwatch League. Ryan just really struggles to close the distance, and it's going to be hard to move anywhere because you're going to have Aspire and Sugarfree almost permanently hounding down your backline.
Was that a nade from...
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Oh, okay, there's the silly. Here is the silly. It would be London. If you saw any team in the league run Rhine on Junkertown, you'd instantly think it's London. Oh, nice wall. Thanks. Thanks for the wall. Thank you for the wall, Backbone. I'll take the free kill.
Landon's so upset. You know, Crimso is using his team against him. Oh, great sleep on a Backbone. Might not be able to follow it up. I don't know if I like this Reinhardt if you're not going to play the Symmetra. I think you need that Symmetra to be able to give yourself the high grounds, to be able to close these distances. Because right now, it just feels like they're stuck on the point, not able to go anywhere, while the Titans are just everywhere.
Look at, I love how aggressive Crimso's playing right now. Literally up in their face. I mean, that's a free nade.
Yeah, Landon's not going to be able to live. Like, this is going to be a consistent theme throughout this map. As a Baptiste, you get hacked, and the Trace is there. Lucio healing isn't enough to be able to just keep you up. EMP for Sparker, though, could open things up.
Pretty quick considering, Scott, I will say. Just pinging out Faith. Crimso there too. Open area. They are held all by the cars. Hits only Crimso. And Faith just hit him with a boom, so his aim was like kind of off there for a split second. Landon dead once more. Third fight in a... Well, I say fight. That's
skirmish?
Been one fight, yeah, skirmish. Third skirmish in a row, and Landon dies first. Look at this big smile on Sugar.
Because he's just bullying Landon.
He's so happy with himself. Look, he just
hacks him, shoots him.
Don't let him go down again, please. Oh, okay. He survived. He survived.
All of a sudden, Sugarfree's smile wipes away from his face. He's like, wait, they're peeling now. This isn't good.
No, please. Good luck getting this Blizzard off, though, if you're Backbone. There's Punk. Slow. He kills Landon again.
Landon.
Oh, this is rough, man.
This is why people do not play this composition.
Yeah.
This is the exact reason. There's too many flank angles, too easy to get behind. Yes, it would work if the opposition was playing a Widowmaker, right? But Vancouver Titans, they recognize it. This Tracer and Sombra are just feasting on you, and they have to do this like long routing. Landon's just, you can see he's so scared just stepping anywhere.
Landon is so paranoid right now. Look at him, it's like playing Outlast or something, just like looking around, being like super scared. Oh my word. Oh, he hears that. Oh. Oh, please, please, Landon,
Lamp
survive
down.
challenge. Oh, he hit the shift. He's good, he's good. Full HP again, and now he uses the window to kill Punk.
Oh, nice play.
Nice boop too. Sending Punk to the skies and straight back to spawn. All right, Landon survived, equal win. Who's surprised? Nobody.
They saw that Landon used that lamp though, and that's why you can see them playing so defensively right now.
As well. Good pulse. Lands on the ice block though of Backbone, so no damage, no kills for Aspire. Enough time for Punk to come back, Scott.
Yeah, Punk's almost back. Both EMPs coming up, but Sugarfree gets caught by Backbone. Huge pick.
Not good, not good if you're the Titans. There's the Shatter, hits one. Good enough in this comp, and they hack Punk. And they kill him. Wow, that was a lot invested just to kill the tank. And even a sound barrier from the London Spitfire. But hey, you got first. It's worth. Now the comp gets infinitely better, right? So
Landon breathes a sigh of relief as his bullying comes to an end, at least for the first point. But as you said, Jack, they had to commit a lot of ultimates. They committed the sound barrier, they committed the shatter to just make sure they close that out. But they held on to two of the most important ultimates. They have the Blizzard, they have the EMP.
Oh, Admiral. Oh, nice moves. Nice moves.
Yeah, and they...
Two-man, that's rarely do you survive a two-man dive like that. Oh, nice Translocator kill. Might not result in anything, though.
There's only 2 minutes remaining for London because of how long that first point took. An EMP by Sugarfree.
Landon's dead again. He's already dead, man. Leave him alone. 2 minutes to go. Titans with a masterclass on how to kill the backline. It's a complete team kill.
Landon's at 6 deaths.
What's the next highest, actually?
Everyone else on his team's at 2. Sparker hasn't died. Okay, actually, this is an interesting stat.
He just pinned Sugarfree from spawn.
How did that even happen?
What?
Sparker is currently 0-0-0. He has no eliminations, no final blows, and no deaths right now.
Better
Unable to
than
find
007,
value.
that's for sure. There's the anti-nade onto Sparker to get the kill. Instant nano onto Faith, and now he's the Reinhardt. Oh, Hardy's in trouble. Dies to Faith's shield bash. 1 minute and 20 seconds. This is London Spitfire's final fight, Scott. How do they capitalize on the CMP, though? I mean, they've got no dive, really. I mean, what, Backbone's going to wall them up onto high ground to capitalize on the EMP?
And how does Backbone use the Blizzard? Like, how do you utilize either of these DPS ultimates working against the Titans? It feels like their composition is so difficult against what the Titans are doing, and they just have no answers right now as
Landon positioning as well.
Landon's having to hide and just play so safe.
Oh, thanks for the wall, bro. Oh, he's dodging. Using it on himself. Oh, and he doesn't fall down either. EMP. That only hit 2. Hit Crimzo and Punk. Gets the DMEC. Self-destruct used, but they kill him off before he's able to get that remech. EMP and Blizzard. And now Vancouver Titans punished for being a little bit too aggressive, but Faith still kills. Somehow is killing people. And now Hardy's trapped in a corner. He hasn't got much shield left. Attempts the pin. Not going to happen. Aspire says sayonara. Vancouver Titans now with only one fight to deal with from London, and London have only got a sound barrier.
Yeah, Admiral needs to dodge this EMP from Sugarfree. Sugarfree's been so deadly all series playing this Sombra.
It's got beat though. All good. Sound barrier available. EMP is good. Backbone and Hardy hacked. And Backbone instantly falls over. Nice sound barrier. They do trade that for Crimzo. Very little healing now for the Titans as Faith also ends up going down. The EMP was good the previous fight, and well, maybe they learned from that and managed to get one off themselves. Now we see London Spitfire at least with some time on the clock here, but the problem is Aspire is still not dead. The Vancouver Titans might just end this push here. Sparker's going to come up with a 10% towards that EMP. Hardy has arrived, but you're basically one fight now away from losing this round.
Yeah, the supports from the London Spitfire were there just keeping themselves alive, and the Titans just didn't have the healing to close that one out. EMP.
Nice EMP. There's the kill onto Faith. A nano boost onto Punk. As long as Crimzo stays alive, you're thinking it's good for the Titans right now. But it is actually London Spitfire coming up.
Diva Bomb out from Punk ends up landing in a pretty interesting position, but Hardy's just alone.
He's the only one now, yeah, somehow. Again, Titans managed to get a complete circle around the London Spitfire, who had to touch the point. Crimzo and Sugarfree, even Aspire, they're making London look 6 different ways, but that's how the comp plays against London's. You're playing the Rhine to play together. And you're playing together on the point because you need to touch. And then Vancouver Titans just circling you.
And that's why I'm just not in love with the Sombra from Sparker. I think if you're going to play that, play the Symmetra, play faster. Don't let them just get the opportunity to dive Landon over and over and over again. Landon finished that round with 10 deaths. He's just unable to stay alive, and it's not just on Landon. That's just how the composition is built, especially playing against this dive style from Vancouver Titans.
It's rough, man. It's rough. I mean, even just Sugarfree getting manual hacks, like that's how they were finding most of the kills on Landon to start off the round.
Here we have a biotic grenade. Oh, hits 3 people with that one, and that's just, how do you deal with that? Oh, nice little sleep on a backbone as well.
God, he's so good. He's so good. On the Ana. You're looking at me, bro.
I can see.
I'm not looking at you, but you're looking at me.
I'm just making sure. You know,
He's
just
really
seeing
good.
if you wanted to double down. I thought you were going to double down on the best Western.
He's really good.
Flex
He's the best
support.
Western flex support.
What we might actually see, at least from what we're looking at in Spawn, is Crimzo is on that Zenyatta again with Faith over to the Ana. This is a composition that can work, especially you're assuming that Hardy's going to play that Reinhardt again because Admiral is in. He just has to be afraid of that threat of Sparker on the Sombra, who, if he gets a hack, just does so much damage. And this is an interesting trick that people have done in the past, where you can contest the point as the Reinhardt and use the Mei walls, right? So you can almost contest the car forever and just stay healthy in this room. Biotic grenade falls onto Hardy. He's getting low.
He's so low. Yeah, and you've got hack too. Wow, the collapse is just too good. You know London are playing this style, like you said, Scott. This forward hold was inevitable, but so was their collapse. I mean, Crimzo, I think he's been so free this entire series, like on Ana, on Zen. Might as well set up his own real estate trust at this point. I mean, at the end of the day, especially with Zen, you can sit in the spawn. As soon as you put a Discord on somebody, you get the hack. How much extra damage is that? The hack targets receive extra damage now, so you're just blowing up almost instantly.
So now London Spitfire come back and they want to do the exact same thing. Now they're in this room.
Right.
We can contest forever. The problem is Titans recognize this. Crimzo's just shooting in
One pulse to end it all. Beautiful pulse. Forces the lamp. Everybody's pretty low. Landon, no shift available there to get them all back at full HP. But now you can just keep poking, Scott. And the EMP's coming up in 10%.
It's just so dangerous to play in this room. There's just so much damage coming out. It's so easy for someone to get biotic grenaded, someone to get pulse bomb like they did, or just too much damage.
EMP. Beat from Admiral. Beat from Admiral's not going to come in. Punk nanoed into the back. And that
Still
mega health
has it.
pack is also hacked. Admiral's still holding on. Just unrelenting with this beat. There's a charge from Hardy, and they're just going to fall over.
I think Admiral wants to hold this for the re-engage. Especially with that EMP coming out, he wants to come back. They'll be able to touch the point, and with that sound barrier, potentially taking an even fight. They have an EMP of their own. The thing is, Crimzo and Faith are just going to play so far away that he's going to have to essentially accept that he's only going to be able to get a one-person EMP.
Maybe two, maybe two. Whoa, there's Crimzo. Yep, very dead. Faith also now trying to protect the rest of his team while hiding behind this box away from Sparker, but he's kind of like just shooting his coattails right now, but Sugarfree's the one doing all the damage right now and carrying the Titans to victory on this first point. Hardy ends up getting hacked. You can't play the Ryan here, especially on nice shatter, but it ain't gonna matter. The Vancouver Titans, I mean, this is just a clean sweep here, Scott. I do not see Spitfire coming back from this, no matter what you're going to tell me in the next couple of sentences. They've got Blizzard, but the way the Vancouver Titans are playing, they're just playing on high ground, and London Spitfire just can't chase them down.
A lot of people have been questioning London Spitfire of like, why don't you just play the Reinhardt composition? It's what you're great at. You've done it against the meta in the past. This is a great example of why.
Right.
You can, any smart team that adapts correctly can just adjust around you and know how to deal with it. Yes, it can work potentially on control, but trying to force it on maps like Junkertown, it's just such an uphill battle. You need Hardy to do Hardy things.
Yeah, that was a really nice spot there from Sparker. Spotted that translocator and Hardy landed the pin. 3 minutes on the bank. That's the problem here, Scott. 3 minutes in that time bank.
This could be a difficult point for the Titans to assail, especially with Crimzo on that Zenyatta. It's just difficult to dislodge, and the London Spitfire can just stand on this high ground, waiting for people to step up, and then it's go time.
It's not like Coliseum, though. You can't contest from high ground, so...
Yeah, fortunately.
Fortunately. Ooh, Sparker, okay.
How?
Don't know how he went down. Nice headshots from Backbone coming out, but I mean, he's got a Blizzard. There's the EMP. It's good enough for 2, but Admiral and Landon holding it down. Blizzard in defense too. I mean, they're throwing everything at this defense. You kind of have to, but an EMP like that, that's a game winner. But a Nano onto Punk, they really believe they can win this fight. I mean, the Spitfire have used all their defensive cooldowns already. There's no sound barrier. There's only a winner from Landon, but Punk's eating a lot of this damage. He does end up going down, or at least his mech does, as he gets the self-destruct. Oh no! They step off the point. The support's on the high ground, and the Vancouver Titans, they end up winning the series. It's a 3-0. Quite a dominant showing, dismantling that Reinhardt composition from Hardy and the rest of the gang. I mean, big smiles on the face. You got to be happy if you're the Vancouver Titans. They 3-0 the Boston Uprising. They 3-0 the London Spitfire here today. You're cheesing going into mid-season madness right now. They're looking fantastic.
Vancouver Titans are winning all the matches that they're expected and that they should win with this roster. And they're looking good doing it as well, right? They took down the Boston Uprising in a pretty convincing fashion. Once again, a masterclass from Sugarfree on how to play that Sombra and sort of solidifying people of, hey, this is a DPS duo that you need to be afraid of.
Yeah, it's scary. It's very scary. Going against a team that a lot of people were expecting, well, they're a mid-to-the-table team. Sure, middle of the table, yeah. And then they come out and kind of lay the smackdown. You expected, well, I think I expected the Boston Uprising game to be pretty close. And I think a lot of people were thinking maybe a 3-2, a 3-1, some close maps here and there, but not like a 3-0. And then they come in, they win this game, 3-0, which people expected them to do. And I feel like Titans are the only team following the script. They are beating teams they should beat. Every other team in the league right now, apart from the Atlanta Ravens and Houston Owls, are losing to teams you don't expect.
Yeah, but that's always a little bit of fun, and it could be worse.
Fun, true.
We could be in the APAC region where nothing makes sense and everything is chaos. But let's head over to our player of the match. You all know who it's going to be. It's your boy, Lenny. Sugarfree coming in as player of the match. Just played an incredible Sombra, and you could see the follow-up from the Titans as well. I just love how cohesively they played around each other. And then when you can switch him over to the Tracer, we saw some Genji in the Boston Uprising matchup. Sugarfree right now, for me, I'll say it, is the leading rookie of the year. I think he's putting up that level of performance. Obviously, it will be dictated by the success of Titans throughout the season. But right now, he's putting up numbers in his rookie season like a lot of people expected.
Yeah, and that's the great thing too. Like a lot of people expected. There's been a few rookies or like rookies that are now veterans in the Overwatch League that have come in. Everybody's like, whoa, no way, they're gonna pop off. Like Mag kind of comes to mind. Everybody thought he was gonna be a world-class main tank and really hasn't lived up to those expectations. But Sugarfree has, and he continues to impress. I mean, look at that.
Numbers are crazy.
7.6 eliminations per 10 on Sombra. He's just good.
I'm going to add some silver lining here for something that I want to see from Sugarfree and the Vancouver Titans. It's easy to play Sombra when you're playing against the Reinhardt Rush. When Landon is just free food for you on cooldown, it feels like. I want to see him be able to do this against other Winston teams because that's when it really gets difficult.
Yeah, and that's where the rest are separated from the best. Like, look at Lip at the very, like, the best Sombra in the world. What he can do against any composition, any team, doesn't matter who it is. He's farming EMPs, won every single fight. Can Sugarfree replicate that and even find more success? I mean, he's doing well. The Vancouver Titans are doing well too. I mean, they are looking, like I said, stick to the script, Scott. This is what
we appreciate that. We appreciate people that stick to the script.
Please stick to the script. It's been a bit wild and wacky out of here. We're going to jump to a quick break though, guys. Do not go anywhere. We've still got a match coming up. The desk are going to take you through that after this.
No.
Oh, Mitch.
Mitch Moreland.
Oh.
The other one.
Hello.
Hi, didn't see you there.
Yeah. I actually didn't see you guys there.
Yeah, we were just discussing the location of Matt and Mitch.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the burning questions we're answering here on stream. Won't tell you about it, but I do want to talk about support bundles because look at how good they look. Look at Life, we got Lucio, we got Brig, looking very good in the bubblegum skin.
Honestly, Lucio in that Titan skin, sheesh.
I mean, those are kind of his colors already. But I like the pink Brig.
I like the blue. I think the blue and the
Brig
green.
and pink is not sheesh enough for you?
I mean, I like her. I've commented on her before. She's solid.
She's solid.
It's a good skin.
I feel like you still have some Brig PTSD. So
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe you're not the
Maybe a
one
little
to
bit of
ask here.
Brig has a fisherman skin. That's the only one
She
I
actually does?
know there are lots of great Overwatch League skins. When it comes to Brigitte, I need the fisherman skin.
Is that you don't have it?
No, I have it.
Swedish.
And it's the
fisherman
only
skin.
one
I mean,
you should wear because she's Swedish and she's a fisherman in it. And,
I eat those candies sometimes.
It's just great.
Swedish fish.
How do you say fisherman in Swedish?
Well, the skin name is Feskan, which is sort of like West Swedish kind of slang.
Is that the
So
fermented fish
it's slang directly from the
that's,
fishing villages.
That's also.
So
that's
you go down
disgusting.
to like the local Feskan. What has he been fishing up? So that's the way you gotta roll. You are like cringing right now, Jake, and I will not take this. You cringing at my culture. I will not take this. I am very proud of my fishing villages. And everything that goes with it, the slang and everything. So I love the Brig skin because it represents where I'm from.
And where she's from.
Good for
also.
We're happy for you.
Live your best
I will
life.
not take
Shame
it.
on you, Jake. And now let's talk about video games because we
All
have
right.
plenty of those. We did have that was another game of Overwatch. I mean,
San Diego Bull.
it was a rough one. Of course, if you're a London Spitfire fan, Vancouver Titans, they made it look easy. Let's be real. If you just watch the player cams throughout the match, they almost looked bored through it all. They were.
Sugarfree was having the time of his
He was
life.
giggling. He was
They were
just
fun.
cackling. It was awesome.
It is pretty fun playing against a Ryan comp that just like hides in a small room and waits for you to press all your ults on them at once. I mean, that's kind of exciting to be the other team. It's very relaxing. It's like, oh, well, I almost have nano. Don't worry, guys. Nothing's going to happen. I'll just finish charging my ultimate. There's absolutely no threat to me. And so they just play
It's like when you're in a good ranked game where it's like, oh, my opponent is going to play Ryan.
Yeah,
Like, okay,
I play those games like it's like I'm on the Bonnie defense
free SR.
and there's a Ryan once you're gonna attack and I'm like I'm just gonna not move from this one spot and the game will end. Like I'm confident in that and that's kind of what we saw in some of these matchups. I feel like for London though, I mean, this is the challenge, right? You're trying to play your strengths, but it's just brutally difficult to make it work and Titans are absolutely punishing you. I think running the Ana Zen was a great adaptation to that Ryan comp, made it non-viable.
Yeah.
The beatdown.
Yeah, this Vancouver team is looking very solid, good fundamentals. You can tell as well with the help from Baroy and Ascot, for example, when it comes to the head coaching staff and stuff like that. They are a pretty analytically driven team. Baroy is the founder of Winston's Lab, for example, and they have all these stats available to them. They like to take a lot of fights often and take a lot of engagements, and they obviously found something that works for them. So I feel like they're building good fundamentals, the Vancouver Titans. They have great individual skill, and that's going to really help you when you start matching up against some of the better teams in the league.
I think also Vancouver is sort of on a roll. I think after beating Boston, they just something like clicked for them. I think they're like improving every match I see after that. It's just like, they're improving a lot more, and I'm happy for Vancouver.
Yeah, I think I like the way their roster is built. They've got a strong foundation of Faith in Crimzo and Punk. I think there's a lot of veteran experience. Not necessarily like the elite of the league in terms of, skill, but you've got Sugarfree and Aspire who kind of bring that energy to the team. They're younger players with like a really high potential, and I think maybe having that stable foundation allows them to succeed really well. I think they've done well with their roster with the resources they do have.
Yeah, and I mean, it also kind of depends on like the strength of schedule, So if you're just looking solid like that and you manage to like beat down other mid-table teams, you might find yourself very much at the top of the leaderboard at the very end of the season. London Spitfire showed us that last season. Right. This season, unfortunately, not so much. And if we're looking at their strength of schedule here, Sloken Rough reinforced.
What are they now? 1-4? Here you go. Good luck.
Oh, they're going Outlaws and then Gladiators?
London
Yeah,
Spitfire.
this is a sink situation for me. This is a sink.
Are we bringing that back? Swim or sink? Or
Yeah, I
Still
dropped 3
sinking.
swims earlier in the day, and this is a sink.
For real, London Spitfire might be 1 out of 3 teams with Vegas Eternal and probably Valiant that miss out on the mid-season knockout bracket.
New York already has 2
They
wins,
might finish
right?
1-7.
New York already has 2 wins.
Yeah, they already have 2 wins,
And
so London need to win another
to
match.
get one of these wins, and I mean, these are all looking hard. Maybe their last match against Toronto, that's the most winnable one.
Yeah.
But I mean, Toronto's had a bit of time in the lab. I think they could come back stronger, and I think especially they have a great matchup against London, very capable of playing exactly what we saw Titans win with here.
Tough.
It's tough. It is indeed. Well, some teams win, some teams lose, but we do want to chat with the winner, and we now have Sugarfree from the Vancouver Titans joining us for a quick chat. Woo! Sugarfree, thank you so much for taking the time. Huge congratulations on the W.
Thank you.
It's Lenny time. All right, I'm gonna start off this.
It always is.
It's always
Lenny time.
It is always Lenny time, boy. All right. So Sugarfree, I mean, after beating, you guys have been sort of on a run. You guys beat Boston, and then now you guys are beating London. So like, I just want to hear from the Vancouver Titans. Like, what changed for you guys?
We've been really just practicing hard, trying different comps, seeing what works for us, and I think we just found our comp that like works the best. Tracer dive, mostly.
Tracer dive.
So I got a question for you. This is an old wound for me. I want to know, there's a lot of Hanzo in this meta, a lot of teams playing the Hanzo. Does Crimzo still complain about game balance every time he gets headshot? Or has he graduated from that?
Every single time.
Yeah, it's like, Hanzo's so broken.
Yeah, every time he dies, just go, oh, that's such a cool hero.
Exactly. He hasn't changed, not one bit. It's been years, Crimzo. You got to get over it. All right, well, thank you for letting me relive that drama from the past, Sugarfree. Great game.
I love that. Hey, Sugarfree, it's really good to see you in the league. Your rookie year, of course. We've been waiting a long time. You joined the Atlanta Reign Academy team when you were 13 years old, and now you've been waiting this whole time to finally get to play in the Overwatch League. So that's been a long time to just kind of be on the sidelines and compete in contenders, for example, and even sitting out for a little bit. How do you feel about your own game and how it's developed that entire time? Do you feel like maybe you kind of like peaked in like 2019, there was a certain meta that was really good for you? Do you feel like you're at your highest level right now? How do you feel about your own game in this very long journey for you that led you here to your rookie year?
So on Atlanta Academy, I was already playing these Overwatch League teams when I was 13, and I was dominating them. So like,
that's what I'm saying.
In the tournament, it's been really fun, and no, I'm nowhere near my peak. I don't think. 2019, nah, I'm only getting better.
Still a long ways to climb.
I want to see it.
Here.
I think you can do it, Sugarfree. I want to see the domination come back.
It can be done. And I feel like the team's coming together really well for the Titans. You know, I think I could see great things. You guys were doubting me this morning. You guys come, no. We got to play the clips from this morning. Who was doubting me? Who was down the Titans?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Suddenly no one knows what you're talking about.
I'm a strong buy on the Titans right now, Sugarfree. Not least, your performances have been really solid. So I think your team is one to watch out for. I think the top teams are going to have to worry going up against the Titans in those upcoming matches. I want to see that.
Couldn't agree more. Well, Sugarfree, thank you so much for taking the time. We hope to see and hear much more from you as the Titans will be raking up their W's. Thank you so much. Congrats. And we have, of course, yet another game to discuss. Our last match of the day, which, it's going to be another match, you know, Valiant and Defiant. I think we're looking at those two teams. From the very get-go, from day one, we looked at them, we saw Valiant exceeding expectations, but Toronto Defiant also, looking at their roster, looked a lot better than some people might have expected. Valiant, of course, coming in with a very new lineup, players we haven't had our eyes on quite as much before. So far, the W is elusive, but Jake, you said it, like They've looked good. The potential is there. The talent is there, as we love to say. Defiant also, of course, like that big, friendship is everything. Right. They look very cohesive. But so far, it doesn't translate in the victory. So what do those teams need to do?
Well, I think, honestly, for Valiant, I want to see more of the explosiveness that we saw in moments against the Atlanta Reign. I mean, they did have these pop-offs where they're able to take team fights, able to snowball, especially off individual performances, and really leverage that. But against the Atlanta Reign, I mean, there was just too much overwhelming pressure. They couldn't maintain that pace of play. But we saw, I mean, they brought Mayhem to map 5. I think this was a really compelling series from the whole squad, looking great on the rush comp. So maybe this is a strength that the Valiant can continue to leverage. I do think people might be underrating the Defiant right now, though.
Underrating? I think they need to prove it to us.
Fair.
We know that they have a lot of skill on that roster. We know that the ceiling of the Toronto Defiant is really high, and a lot of us expected Toronto Defiant to compete with some of the very best teams this year. Going into this year, it was all about how high can Toronto Defiant really get? Can they compete with the likes of Houston Outlaws and Atlanta Reign? Now, that was before we realized how good Outlaws and Reign really were, but like they were in that conversation for top 5 team in the region. And so far, it's honestly been really disappointing to watch the Defiant play. They bring out all these fancy compositions and like will adapt map to map. Okay, what is your strength? What is your best composition? What is your A game when you really bring it? I don't think we've seen it from Defiant yet.
I also think they had a tough strength of schedule though, Danny.
They did too, but also I think, like I agree with what Johnny said because they are talented players, and we know how good this Toronto Defiant team could be because even in the Pro-Am before the season started, they were dominating the Pro-Am matches. So like I would just want to see Toronto being more confident and like show basically what we saw from the Pro-Am. We know how good these players are. Just bring that to the table now in the Overwatch League. I think that's what we all want to see.
Yeah, good or bad, like at least they owned it. I feel they owned it every time. They had their own style and they rocked up with it. And they are that NA super team. They're the one team everyone wanted to see succeed, Jake.
Yeah, and I especially want to see Hydron putting on a role where he can have a little bit more individual impact. I think his Sombra has been decent, it's been fine, but it hasn't been as inspiring as I think some of his other heroes are when he's able to be more of a core damage dealer, focus on his own game. I feel like that's when Defiant, I think, have the best potential. They're the scariest. But of course, this is a meta where you need to play Sombra, and I think Defiant, they still, I would guess, see themselves as a top team. They want to be there, and I don't think they're going to be able to give up on this dominant meta that Houston and Atlanta are wiping the floor with other teams with, right? So I think, to be honest, Defiant, they just got to find their footing in the Sombra meta and then be able to bring out the Hanzo, put out Hydron on those backline hit scan when it's reasonable, when it can be done efficiently and effectively. They just got to find that balance. And as you said, find their strength. What's their team color? What's their spirit?
Well, I'm interested to see where we're going with predictions here. Going to start things off. I went for the Toronto Defiant. I just think overall, I do believe in the team cohesion we've seen from them, and they did show us some different looks. None of them stuck just yet, as you said, that real identity. We're still not entirely sure. However, that did show us variety, which I think is very, very important. And for the Valiant, I just haven't seen it come together yet. Danny, oh no, you worry me. Are you actually?
All right, here's the thing.
Oh no.
Toronto Defiant, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't impressed by all the matches that they played, right? And sure, they had some time now. It's been some time since they last played, so they had some time to, go back to the drawing board and work things out. But I liked what I saw from the Valiant before and how they took Florida Mayhem, one of the top teams, to a map 5. I went with the Valiant. I think today's the day that Los Angeles Valiant gets their first win. I believe in you guys.
I
love it.
And that's a bold prediction.
Yeah.
I think it's not completely crazy. I think this will be a closer match than maybe the team records would lead you to believe, but or rather just like the name brand value of these players would lead you to believe. I do favor the Defiant. I think they're still a little bit stronger, but I want to see something great here from the Valiant. I want to see a close match. Ultimately, I did go with the Defiant because I just have some faith in these players. I think they can bring it together, but as you said, Johnny, they've got to prove it to us. At this point, maybe this is, if Valiant upset them here, then it's looking really dire for the franchise.
You guys are doing a really good job hyping this matchup, and I was going to be close, and Valiant's good now. It's just Toronto Defiant. Toronto Defiant are going to win. They're favored by far in this one.
Wait, I thought you said they had to prove it.
Hey, I'm so far behind on my friends. Doesn't matter. If I get this right, I will look like a genius. If not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's only two extremes here. Either you're a genius or an absolute buffoon.
To be fair, I've been like gaslighting Danny, but in this one, I actually believe I think the Defiant can put up a show. I think they've had their moments, their good performances. It's going to be up to Defiant, I think, to set the tone on this match and leverage their experience, their veterancy to make this.
Well, at least the three of us gave the Valiant one map. Which honestly, the way you set it up, you made it sound a lot closer than your scores will actually.
I forgot I gave them a map. Okay, I thought it was going to be a 3-0, but I guess it's a 3-1. Sure, have a map.
That's
Why not?
So
I'm a believer in a Valiant.
Valiant, I believe. Today's our day. Today's our day.
Jason and Danny believe. Let's see if we can get more fans on board. And of course, we have one other Valiant super fan in Mr. X, who's joined by Mitch. What do you guys think of this one?
Ooh, I mean,
I think Danny's ridiculous.
Yeah. Danny is the biggest Team Iceland super fan, though, so I'm not. This is very much.
Let's go Iceland!
I mean, Danny loves it. Danny loves an underdog. Iceland, if you didn't catch it, did actually qualify to the EMEA conference. So hey, he was right in that regard. I think. Look, I mean, there's been a whole week. I think we haven't mentioned the fact that there's been an entire week that Defiant have actually had off, and they came out of that week too looking shocking, absolutely shocking. 5 maps against New York. Swept by the Mayhem, who, by the way, got taken to 5 maps by the Valiant. So, Matt, I don't think Danny is that much out of pocket, but a week can be a long time with this one.
I don't think Danny is out of pocket with this. I actually think it makes a little bit of sense. I don't agree with Danny. He was so impressed with the Valiant, said all these positive things, and then basically he was like, I think they're gonna win by that much. Like barely get
Here's
by.
a 3-2.
Yeah.
That is true. But I mean, we talk about, Jake used the term name brand value. I think that's a really apt term when you look at this team. It's Kalush from the San Francisco Shock in the past. It's OG and Ultraviolet from the Atlanta Reign team. Hydron for the Mayhem. Speedily, of course, on the Atlanta team, who was really expected to make a splash. On name brand, the Toronto Defiant really should be coming out of the gate strong here. And I want to go back to what Johnny said. What is the style of the Toronto Defiant? What do they do best? Because someone like Kalush, let's not forget, that guy got subbed out in the second half of the Shock series against the Fuel in last year's Grand Final because they couldn't find a way to get him into the game. That was maybe a lack of flexibility back then. This is now, but we have really high expectations for the Defiant, but if you predated them, you are feeling uncomfortable right now. I predated them 3-1. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think you'll probably know how this series goes rather quickly. I think like how this first map kicks off, I think you'll have a really strong idea over what happens here is, it'll still look like some Valiant trash talk and then immediately a pause there from Toronto. So we'll get back in the game in a sec. But I think you're going to be able to see if there's a large, because Toronto, you look at this team and on paper, and I think with name brand value, right? You expect them to be a team that can kind of run over the Valiant on the other side, right? Yep. Just kind of dominate with skill. If that is not the case early on, I actually think things start to sway heavily towards the Valiant, right? We saw Seeker have a really good game on that one that we casted against the Florida Mayhem. I thought the support line was really good. I saw some Reddit thread, and I think Avril was going back and forth. I thought the support line was pretty good last week.
Who was in the Reddit thread? Tell me again.
I don't know. There's a bunch of people there on Reddit.
Yeah, I need to ban that guy from getting. No,
I need to ban him. No. Avril wasn't on Reddit. He was on Twitter, but talking about Reddit. So it was kind of,
might need to
once I had to go to multiple places to understand the convo, I just stopped. So I was like, all right, something's going on here. I thought the supports played pretty well last week for the Valiant. I know in that game against Florida that we saw. But, and if you get that type of performance here today, and Toronto is on that same trajectory as we think, I definitely think this is a series the Valiant can take. I don't even think it would be 3-2. I think there's a way this could swing heavily towards the Valiant.
Yes. I do think, though, that, we know that Krawi is not someone that sort of likes to play these Winston styles typically, right? It's a lot of Ramacha, maybe a bit of Diva mixed in there. Speedily has the option also to play that Echo. He's obviously been very, very upfront about the fact that he wants to be known as the best Tracer player, but his pocket Echo is really powerful. We may see it on the control map if it's the sort of right one to bring that in, and that's a great way to pressure down a tank that doesn't always go towards a Winston ride. Ramacha can be pretty vulnerable against Focusing Beam even when he's sort of blocking out. What I really love about the Valiant, I know it's crazy. I guess that the more things change, the more they stay the same. The way we sort of talk about this team has changed drastically since last year, let's just say that. But talking to Jake, and he's like, I get a bit of info from scrims and how teams feel about others. There's so much talk at the start of the season about how teams conduct themselves in scrims, right? I won't mention the team, but you'll know if you've been keeping up the news. There's been one that's been credited with a lot of rage scrims.
Yeah, you didn't have to go to multiple sites to find that news. You log on Twitter, you figure it out.
Just go, yeah, exactly. But the Valiant are known to have a reputation for always staying in the scrims, giving it their all, never giving up. And I think that correlates with this team's improvement over the course of the season. CJ and Lyra are being heralded as like a backline with incredible potential, and we know what Seeker and Crowley are capable of doing. So there's no, like, if you're a fan of the Valiant, like, it's a good time. It's a good time to buy these stonks because they are on the rise, and the Defiant in week 2 were on the way down. So let's see how that course is corrected, Matt, in this last week.
Yeah, no, we'll see potentially, obviously, some time to make some changes, but Toronto may be coming out here with the Reinhardt kind of composition. Okay, so they're going to have Kaluj on the Rhine. It'll be Symmetra for both sides, but really, it's just that Reinhardt versus Ramatra, which we've seen time and time again that the Ramatra is able to win out, but speedily gets a first pick.
I mean, you're taking a risk here playing Symmetra in a front line that doesn't have a static shield. Seeker gets picked off there, albeit like a little bit randomly. But if you're Hydron, you probably feel much more secure playing close to the front line, pressuring down with the Symmetra here. Ultraviolet gets a little caught on the outside of the map there, has to use an immortality field for themselves, and it doesn't go well.
I don't know how Ultraviolet got caught all the way on that side. Maybe kind of like thought he was going around on a little bit of flank. Maybe thought the rest of the team was going to push up, be a little bit more aggressive, but yeah, that's it. It's a bit odd. Look at that. I mean, Toronto gets a first pick off with speedily, like basically instantly. It doesn't even get the point for it. They end up giving it right up away.
That's not a good look, I'll be honest with you. An opportunity for the Defiant here. But again, they have to win like a straight 5v5. They had the pick, they lose the point. Not a great sign here, but there's work to be done. Amplification Matrix is available here. We see Hydron take the TP out of trouble and back to get healed. Nosma have to ice block here, and he does. It's going to be Windows overlooking the point from both Baptiste players here. CJ Low has to use an immortality field for themselves, and again, it's going to get picked off pretty soon. Keep an eye on Lyra here, taking a little bit of poke damage in that front line, and the Defiant want to start to bully the Valiant off behind this wall.
Yes, they do get past and get the control of the point, and that's going to be Crawley falling here early, but they did use that a lot to be able to kind of like battle back, bully them off the point. Really, that Symmetra wall was the thing that did it, right? Not a lot of damage, obviously, you can go through that from the Valiant. Cry just using Nemesis form, trying to block, soak up damage, keep control of the point. Not able to do so, but 41% still for the Valiant. Pretty good start.
Yeah, looking at their old economy as well, you're feeling fairly good about their chances in this next fight. Comes down to execution here, especially this Symmetra wall. Got to be thrown to give the Valiant a safe zone here, but Kaluj may opt to push through and go for a quick shatter as he whips around the corner. May wall thrown up here. Crowley needs to return to that defensive zone here. That wall has expired, and now Kaluj has an opening. He gets blown up instantly, though. Doesn't expect the Nemesis punch, I guess. And, of course, that air matrix in the back. CJ causing a lot of problems for Toronto.
And that Blizzard doesn't get anything there for the Defiant. Speedily just kind of throws it in as maybe some of the players coming in for the Valiant. But yeah, I agree with you. I think CJ up on that high ground using that Amp Matrix definitely caught Kalush and probably the rest of the Defiant off guard, because he went around the corner, started to swing, looked like he was going to get aggressive, and he got blown up basically instantly.
So after a week, we're looking for Toronto to play very distinctively, their own style, and be very clean. The latter they've not really achieved so far. It's been really scrappy. In this fight, there is still a shatter here for Kaluj, but the Blizzard's going to complicate things a little bit more now. So CJ's able to back away from Kaluj, who just wants the Baptiste, but in the meantime, his team's getting utterly eviscerated. Sound Barrier comes in and it's an okay shatter, I suppose, but there's no follow-up. It's a little late, and the Defiant had already lost a player by the time Kaluj decides to pop that ult. That's a head-scratcher.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they got the Annihilation going and he was pretty low, so he shatters the Ramatra and doesn't want to just kind of like send his life going in at it to try and kill him. As double Sim Barrier here, Mitch, but look at how far ahead CJ is towards this next Amp Matrix. He's gonna, if you just kind of like have a little bit of a battle here with these Sim walls, right, the Sims start to get charged up, you're gonna see this Amp Matrix come out pretty early here for the Valiant, which could end up deciding the game.
About as complex as navigating a very quickly moving revolving door. And there it is, CJ strikes again. Hydron goes down, that Amp Matrix doing a fair bit of work. Kaluj have to crucially take Seeker out of the front line here, so that front loaded damage for the Valiant now is severely compromised, allowing the Defiant to push up and take the point, but they had better hold it for the rest of the round.
Yeah, it's like that first pickoff happens right when the Valiant are about to pop that Amp Matrix, so you can't keep those players alive. You're down a player, you know, going into the fight, and even though CJ had a pretty good angle, not able to really find anything, they decide to back off. So now a little bit of an advantage here for the Defiant is you're looking at probably like this fight, maybe one more for them to win this point.
Ultraviolet's in Amp Matrix position here. Okay, regenerative burst pop pretty early on in the fight. Knows he can amp his healing if he needs to. Zika takes a big hit from what looks like a Fire Strike there, maybe an Endothermic Blaster. Either way, the Defiant are waiting. They might be waiting for a Shatter here. They've got all the ultras ready to use. The longer they wait, the more of a window they give the Valiant into this fight.
Yeah, I think it's the Valiant waiting here. CJ's going to have another Amp Matrix there, but it's Kaluj getting aggressive with a Shatter. And yeah, you may have just been a little bit too patient there playing for those ultimates. Yeah, you probably thrown this one away as it's going to be a team kill. You were probably playing, you were playing around getting double support ultimate for the Valiant there, right? Towards the end, but you kind of play that waiting game and then neutral on the point for so long. If you don't win it, you get, obviously caught like that and then, pretty poor defeat there at the end.
I mean, look, they come into that fight so it's like 99-50. They come into that fight with no ultimates really. So their ult combo looks really weak there. You can see it's charging up now. Liar, I don't think they Ajaxed, but yeah, okay, it was a nice shatter to be sure. CJ, no chance to use that amp. Liar, sound barrier available here, opting not to use it. Yeah, not a great look here for the Valiant, letting that one slip.
Yeah, it looked like both teams throwing out some comps that they would try and play here. Not the case. That's actually the Valiant using a TP to get out of the spawn, and then using kind of the sound speed boost to kind of get to the point. Yeah, but Toronto actually just beats them there, right? They end up using the speed boost out of the point, then the TP up to the high ground.
I mean, listen, the hallowed name of LH Cloudy gets invoked at the start of this round here. Both teams come out on Reinhardt. Both teams play aggressively, very much channeling the aura of that individual. Who, of course, we saw representing Finland in the World Cup, so it'll be a factor.
I thought the Valiant were fine on the Ramantra. Like, I think you probably got to just stayed on that. Like, I don't think there's like a... I wouldn't say like Kaluj or Crawley, Reinhardt specialists or, top Reinhardts, where I think you probably go even for both teams, right? Kaluj playing some of those kind of off-tank centric tanks.
Crawley's never going to build a shadow map.
Yeah, I mean that's not great when you die that fast. So
he is looks like getting lapped.
Yeah, we're going back to the spawn again here. Yeah. Oh, I mean he's going to, right? Kaluj going to have the shatter in the next fight. Probably Cry the first one, the recipient of it, right? Build it back up again. There's definitely a very good chance he gets lapped.
Yeah, this is looking much worse for the Valiant now. Having switched to the Reinhardt comp, it's something that I don't know too much about Crowey's Reinhardt resume. So far, not exactly a sterling impression being given. Kaluj going to give a little bit of space here. Okay, so turrets placed by the Valiant to stop a push out of the point, but it's unlikely that Defiant are going to oblige in that regard. Kaluj will know about it straight away if he does. And Matrix here. Oh, Liar gets caught. Not great. Lucio's down. Kaluj takes a bunch of damage from that window, but Hydron burns Krawi down. Man, having the Symmetra wall at that moment, perfect timing.
Well, and then Hydron also uses the TP to get behind the Valiant, who are already in a little bit of panic mode and just starts beaming everybody down. That is your Amp Matrix there for the Valiant. That does not work. You are still very far away from a Shatter. Even sound barrier here as well, 80%, right? This fight ends pretty quick with some ultimates here for the Defiant. You may not get that.
I try to have everything. Talk about ult economy in the previous round. This one, not much different. Kaluj pretty much knows what's coming his way there. He makes a charge, cancels it, can't quite get out of the Blizzard. Frozen down by the Endothermic Blaster, but hey, there's going to be a sound barrier in play for OG, and that should be all the durability that the Defiant need. It's a strong start from the Los Angeles Valiant, but they falter, they stumble, and it carries over into the second round here on Lijiang Tower. Toronto Defiant with a clean 2-0 to start the series.
They didn't even need any of their ultimates there really as well. I mean, they used the Blizzard at the end. They have a sound barrier, just to make sure. But that second round was just completely dominated by the Defiant, where if you're the Valiant, right, you did really good against the Florida Mayhem playing those Ramatra comps, fall back on that type of stuff. That's the type of stuff that's looked good for you. And you can play it against the Reinhardt. It's not like you have to mirror in this type of situation.
Crowley's decision to switch the Reinhardt somewhat mystifying. But again, that is the Los Angeles Valiant for you. Plenty of game left for them to show us what they're capable of, but not the best start for them. It's Symmetras for both teams to begin with here. And Zika definitely has his moments, right? Playing the Symmetra in a front line that doesn't have a constant shield presence there. It's the shatter here from Kaluj that really turns that first round around after the Valiant just sort of sit back and wait too long, as you put it.
Yeah, they were waiting to get CG with that Amp Matrix. Also, Liar was like really close. Ended up getting the sound barrier at the end, but didn't get use of either of those to end round number 1. But round number 2, I mean, this was just a complete blowout. I mean, this is not good.
No, Defiant, as you said, didn't need their ults. That's because the Valiant didn't really have any of their own. Look at the end of the round. Seeker and not.
This is the play, though. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Just
frying them. The Defiant looking much better after a week off, after a slightly slow start. Hollywood, though, will be truly telling. Let's see what we get from the Toronto Defiant, or if the Valiant can hang. So the one way to find out, that's to stick around.